This is Monday, January 25th's writing lesson. Our objective today is I can identify and write adverbs that tell how. So a little review, verbs are our action words. So all of these words on this chart here are considered verbs. They are all actions. Dive, swipe, write, twirl, scoot. All of these are actions. But today we're going to be focusing on adverbs. Words that describe verbs are called adverbs. Adverbs can tell how an action happens. Most adverbs that tell how end in ly. Adverbs can come before or after the verbs they describe. Think about how you want to describe an action and choose that exact word. So here down below it says the sea turtle swims gracefully over the coral reef. Here our action is swam, but the word that describes the action, the adverb, is gracefully. Gracefully describes how the turtle swam. Then we have the fish happily darted in and out of the seaweed. Here our verb is darted, but the word that describes how the fish darted is happily. So the first instructions on this slide say to write the adverb that tells about the underlined verb in each sentence. Number 1, she held the balloon string tightly. Held is my verb, that's what is underlined, but what word describes how the balloon was being held? Tightly. Number 2, the boys cautiously approached the basement door. Approached is my verb here, but what word describes how they approached the door? Cautiously. That means carefully. Number 3, Marlis proudly showed us her swimming trophy. Showed is the verb, but which word describes how she showed the trophy? Proudly. All of these adverbs are describing how. So some more practice. Here the verb is bolded and in green, and we need to find the adverb that tells about that verb. Number 1, the kids read silently. Read is the verb, but silently describes how they were reading. Number 2, Jorge easily finished his math test. Finish is the verb, but which word describes how he finished it? Easily. Number 3, the teacher collected the test papers quickly. The verb here is collected, but how did the teacher collect them? Quickly. The kids happily ran out of the classroom for recess. Ran is our verb, but how did they run? Happily. Flynn and Gray walked home slowly. Walked is our action here, but what word describes how they walked? Slowly. And finally, number 6, Harper shouted loudly to Jenya. Shouted is our verb. Which word describes how they shouted? He shouted loudly. Next, I'm going to write my own sentence using an adverb. Now remember, my adverb can come before or after the verb, and most of my adverbs end in ly. So I wrote, the students whispered quietly to one another in the library. Whispered is the verb, but how did they whisper? Quietly. Our exit ticket is on Edge Elastic, and I will pull up a preview of what that looks like. Number 1, choose the adverb below. All of the words are highlighted, but you can choose one of them for the correct answer. Number 2 and 3 are the same way. Number 4, sort the verbs and adverbs below. So in this box, we have both verbs and adverbs. Remember, our verbs are our action and adverbs are words that describe the action. So understanding the difference between those two parts of speech. And finally, number 5, write a sentence using an adverb that tells how. Okay. If you have any questions about this assignment, please let me know.